Hello geeks, and welcome to the second video in this series where we explain Business Central workflows from both functional and technical sides. In the last video, we have started by exploring what is a workflow, how is it built, why was it built, how is it structured, what is an event, what is a workflow, what's the life cycle for a workflow. So make sure, if you have not watched that video yet, please go back and watch it, as it will help you a lot in understanding today's video. We studied the theory. Today we will start building our own workflow. So let's dive in. Okay. To navigate workflows, search for workflows. Once you open, this page will show you all the workflows that you have created. It will show the description of each workflow and the status of this workflow, whether it's enabled or not. From here, we have some of the main actions that we could do using workflows. We can create a new workflow. From here, we can use templates. Those templates are standard templates created by Microsoft. As a functional consultant, you will not be able to create a new template. Instead of creating a template, you can create your own workflow and then make a copy of it and then start modifying it directly. New will initiate a new blank workflow. So from here you can start building a workflow from scratch. From here, under the home actions, you can import from file or export to file. These buttons are helpful when you want to share any workflow across multiple environments or multiple companies. So you can export a workflow. It will be exported as an XML format, and you can import a workflow. Once imported, you will be able to see it here. You can go there and start modifying this workflow. Under the Manage tab, you can see three main buttons. Edit will open the workflow in edit mode, where you can start modifying it. Delete will delete that workflow, and the View will open it in a view only mode. So here is the workflow. This is a view only mode. Let's start by creating our own from scratch workflow. Click on New. Let's start by defining So from here you can choose the category. There are several standard categories that you can choose from, and you can create your own category from here. So I'll choose that it's integration. From here, this enabled toggle button, it determines whether this workflow is triggered or not. So if you want to modify or create a workflow, make sure that this button is disabled so you can start modifying. You can't modify or edit any enabled workflow. Okay, this section here, the workflow steps, have three main columns: the when event, on condition, and then the response. When event is the trigger that should be triggered in order for the responses to happen. So when I say in this case I want to choose a trigger, so this is a list of all the standard triggers defined by Microsoft. A technical consultant can define a custom workflow event, and it will automatically be added here, and then you as a functional consultant can use it directly from here. So an item record is changed. This event triggers any change that happens on the item record. On condition, if I want to make any, let's say, any sort of restrictions on what, or filters on what items should be triggered. So suppose we have some of the sensitive items that maybe something like expensive items, we need always to trigger any change on it to keep everything traceable. You can start by specifying a condition. Here you can then choose the response. You can choose a set of the standard responses, or you can, as mentioned, the technical consultant can add some of the custom responses. I want to select this one, show a message. Some of the responses will show you up a new like section where you can start specifying some of the fields. So here I want to specify what is the message that should show up. I wanted to say hello from parent event. Okay, so here we have defined our workflow. Let's try to test it out. First, let's enable it, then go back to item record. Let's go to any item. If I have changed any of the fields on this item, it's supposed to trigger that action and show us the response, which says hello from parent event. So let's try it. You cannot, okay. No, hello from parent event. The event was triggered and the response was executed. Okay, let's start by adding some conditions. What if I want to make a filter on unit price? I want to trigger only the items that are above $100. Enabled workflows can't be edited, so we should disable the workflow and then create the filter again. Okay, so what's the unit price? Unit price here is 192. If we change, it's supposed to be triggered. Yes. Let's enable the workflow. It was triggered. What if the item price was 90? The workflow will not be triggered. Okay. So let's start by adding more workflows steps. So let's clear the filter. I want to delete the event condition. Okay, so we're going to start by adding new steps. In order, before adding a new step, we should understand how is the hierarchy of the workflow steps. So in order, we can have only one entry event for a workflow. So we can have only one trigger that will start triggering this workflow. This workflow may have multiple steps, but the first step is the only one that will trigger whether the workflow will run or not. So no matter how many events I have here, if the first one have a condition that was not met, none of these events that are defined here will be triggered. So you can consider it as a tree, where this event, the root event, we can consider it as the root, and those are the branches of this root, where all the branches will not exist unless the root exists. So we can control how is this tree related to each other by choosing the indent. Choosing the indent will change how those events are related to each other. So when I say in this step, suppose like I want to have the exact same event, an item record is changed. I wanted to say, show a message, hello from child response. Hello from first child. Okay, so here, as you see, they are on the same indentation. So if I try to enable this workflow, it will not be enabled, and it will show an error message. There can be only one left aligned workflow step. So I'm supposed to increase the indent, which will change the relation, will make this as the parent event, and this as the child event of this parent. So this event, as mentioned, will not be triggered unless the parent event is triggered. Now, hello from the first child. If we enable the workflow and start testing out, no, hello from parent event, yes, hello from first child. After all the events are triggered, it will start looping again. This event will be triggered, like if I keep changing, it will always walk through all the event steps and then go back and to the parent or to the root event. So suppose I want to add a condition for this child, unit price is greater than 100. So here, hello from first child, parent, the child was not triggered. Okay, unit price is less than 100. Let's refresh the record. And even the parent event was not triggered. Let's see why. So there was no issue, but and sometimes Business Central behave just in a strange and ununderstandable way. So I have restarted the workflow and it's now just triggering. So once you choose hello from first child, hello from parent event. So if we want now to add a new child item, now let's choose the same trigger, item record is changed, the same response, show a message, hello from second child. So this now one of these child branch events are on the same hierarchy. So what's going to happen is that the system always prioritizes the events that does not have a condition. So if you saw, it just changed the order of how these events are triggered. So it will now check this one, always like the one that says always show a message hello from second child, and then it will check the filtered or the events that have some conditions defined on it. So if we turn the event on, hello from first child, hello from parent, hello from second, hello from parent, this one will never be triggered, as the events that are on the same hierarchy will only be one event trigger. So this one will always be triggered and this one will always be ignored, as this one does not have any condition. But if we change the conditions, like let's delete this line, and add it again, let's choose that for coffee makers. So now that we have both of these on the same level and both of these are in some of the cases the central just behave weirdly. Like if we want to add an event as the previous one, let's add a filter, for the coffee, and then let's say show a message. It may just change the order without any understandable reason. So like now it have just changed the order. In this case, what you should do is that choose your trigger and define it. Define your conditions, coffee, and then define the response. And then in this case, you can just increase the indentation, make sure that the record is saved. Now decrease the indentation again of this record. It's just like saved in the expected order. So sometimes you need to find some of the workarounds. So that's it. Okay, so those are two events. We have them defined in this way. This one is triggered, and this one, or this one, based on what is the condition that is met. But if I want to make a child have another child, we can just simply increase the indentation. And now this event will not be triggered unless this event is triggered. And this one will not be triggered unless this one is triggered. So in case we want to try, we can have all of those events triggered. So let's try test it out. Let's change this to coffee makers. And the unit price is more 100. Hello from parent event, and then hello from first child, and now hello from second child. All the events were triggered. Here in this page, you can find all the workflow event steps and when they were triggered and what was triggered and what was not triggered. So you can consider this as a log that you can always refer to in case you noticed any errors during your workflow. So now that we have our workflow ready, we can use it to copy to another workflow. It made just a new copy of this workflow. I can directly start modifying it. As mentioned, no need to define a template as it's kind of challenging task to create, because you need to know how to add it and when to add it and how to trigger the insertion of a workflow. So it's not an easy task. So you can just, as mentioned, create a new blank workflow, and then always you can copy this workflow. In the next video, we will start by diving in the approval workflows, how to set up the approval, how to create an approval workflow, and how to use the existing templates and utilize them to create a new workflow, a new approval workflow. Thank you for watching.